Hello everyone, good evening.
Good evening, Sagar.
Good evening, Sagar.
Hello. So how are you finding the classes, guys? So how is the time zone? How is the time? Are you all comfortable with this time?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So basically we used to have this a hour later, but this is the first time where we started up with 10:30 p.m.
Hey Sagar, I have a question for you.
Yes, go ahead.
So the video that you had us watch before the class, the part A through G, I believe, are you gonna go over that material as well?
Which material are you talking about?
I'm talking about there are kind of a basic videos that you have posted, and it's part A through G through the web.
Okay. Yeah. So you're talking about these videos, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so basically, some student paid 1 month back. They enrolled 1 month back for this May batch, okay, and they were sitting with doing nothing. So what I did is I gave them access to some of the recording videos so they can go through the theory. But yes, this is a part of our live batch. So I will
Okay.
also, yeah, I will cover them again, okay. But some people who wanted to have some basic exposures, so that's why I put some videos from the previous batch as well.
It was actually pretty helpful to me as I'm new, and
Okay.
I watched it. The only concern, I didn't understand, 100% of it, so I was wondering if you're gonna go over it again. So sounds like you will, so I'm pretty
Yeah.
good with that.
Yeah, so today, I will go through overview on each one of them, not in detail, but a overview. The reason is, before we start with some scripting, let's first know what are these basic things, okay? And then we will start with the one or two scripting examples today. So first half an hour would be spent on the basic theoretical topics, and the next 30 minutes would be spent for the script development, okay. And guys, those who have not enrolled yet, so this is the second class of this batch, and from next class the meeting is gonna be locked. So it's only the enrolled people who will have the access to the meeting, okay. And we conduct meeting Monday to Thursday. It's 1 hour of session, Monday to Thursday, 1 hour of session. Okay, and this is the second class what we are gonna cover. And
Sagar,
yes, go ahead.
Sagar, this is Habib here.
Mhm.
Yesterday it was the first day, but I missed the class.
Okay.
So, and I was going through your first class half. I have just completed. Just wanted to make sure, like, if still I continue with the second class, I should be able to cope, right?
Yeah, so yesterday we have not tested any topic, frankly
Okay.
speaking. We only went with some walkthrough over on the web portal and lab access. So topic is something which we will start from today. But again, this is something which for next few days, it would be like getting repeated daily. Okay, but yes, if you have not gone through the last video, that means it's all fine. There is nothing that you have missed it. Okay. It's just the web portal access, lab access, and the required tools and all those we were discussing. A generic lecture, I can say. Okay. All right, guys. So the video is already on your web portal. So I hope you guys have web portal. If you do not have web portal, then you have to contact me or put up on the WhatsApp, and one of from our team will take it up and they will help you get the web portal and have access. But majority of guys have already have this by now. Okay. All right. Okay. Anyway, so could be some temp issue. I will start with some basic things and Q&A related lab access, web portal access, let's keep it at the end. Okay. So that's why I had to cancel my next class, which starts at 11:30, because people might have a lot of questions today at the end, and I don't want to make the other people wait on the next class, so I had to cancel it. Okay. All right. So let's begin with some basic things. Okay. Uh, so in the last class, we had very good conversation where a lot of people, lot of student, lot of participant contributed on this topics. Okay. So my first question was, what do we automate, and give me some of the inputs from your side. And it was kind of a very good session where I could document lot and lot of points. So if you recall, this is something that we had structured upon. Okay. The configurations, backup, upgradation, inventories, and all those things. So it's a good thing, but again, the audience are not from uh, a single level. They, some are beginner, some are intermediate, some are good at something, some are just starting. So just to keep everyone on a same track, we have to first go through some basics. Okay. We will not touch this basic 100%, because if I touch this basic right now, you will not understand anything. Trust me. So until you see these things in action inside your script, then only you will understand, okay, so this is getting used here, or this topic is getting used here. So so that is when we normally do the scripting, and then we come to the theory topic. But now for today, I'll just try to cover few things which you need to understand before writing any scripts. Okay. So again, this is something which I would expect the audience to give the input. So uh, let's say the first syntax of Python, what I'm gonna write it on my screen is this. So what do you understand by this? Let's say if I am trying to break this down, the syntax is something which I want to break down. So tell me, what do you think in this? What is the content here?
It's basically saying display hello world.
Okay, fine. So it says it is displaying. Okay. So can I say display as a output also?
Yes.
Okay. Because there are two things. Okay. It could be input and it could be output. What do you think it is? Is it a input or is it a output?
Output.
Yes, it's a output. Whenever you see a print statement on your script, that means you are printing the content to the executor over on the terminal. So let's say if this is my script, right? If I execute the script, so whatever I get on my terminal, let's say if I just run the script, so whatever you get over here, that's basically the print output, and this output helps you understand what is being fetched or what happened when you ran the script. Okay, so print is something which is used to display the output. But then what other things do you see here? What are other elements here to write a simple print statement?
Well,
What do you understand? Yes, go ahead please.
parentheses is something that I really don't understand why it's there, but it's
Mhm. Okay, so those round brackets, which we normally call it as round brackets, they in programming world is called as open parenthesis. Okay, so parenthesis is something where you write the content. Okay, depending upon syntax, the content could be the user defined content. Like in my case, I said hello world. Sometimes the content can be some filters which goes side by side with that syntax. Okay, so in this case, print do not have any such sort of filters, but there are some syntax in Python where when you define the content, let's say one for an example, when I say dot split lines. Okay, so it also comes with parenthesis. when I say dot split, now I have to define some filters here. Okay, so there could be various reasons to keep the content within that, and that content could be sometimes user defined. Let's say in my example, hello world is a user defined, it has nothing to do with any syntaxing. But there could be some filters also. Let's say in this case, okay, this is a filter on basis of what I am performing some task. Okay, so that's that bracket, open bracket, we call it as parenthesis. What else do you see here? There are some more things here. What do you see here? So guys, we have 50 participants and I don't get to know any.
Double quotation?
Yeah.
No, I would
String.
request
String.
I would request others to answer, please.
String is there.
What do you mean by string?
String means double quotation is there. So it is saying whatever we type, that is called a string.
Okay. So when you see that double inverted comma, that is a representation for a string. Representation of a string. But then what is string? So in Python, what do you understand by a string?
Any text?
Text. Yeah.
What if
You type in a text, yeah.
what if
Collection of characters.
see, you guys are very close. So what if instead of hello world I had placed 5? Do you still call it as a text?
Yeah, it will be considered as a text characters.
We call it as character, because text is something which is your English alphabet, A to Z or A to Z. Okay, and your numbers are all your 0 to 9. But the moment they get those inverted commas, now they become a character. Okay, and these characters have some backend memory, which we'll talk sometime later, like 1 byte, 2 byte, 3 bytes, 4 bytes. Okay, your English alphabets and numbers are stored in a 1 byte. When it comes to the emojis, it's a 4 byte data structure. If you talk about the languages like French, Chinese, Hebrew, so they are 2 bytes or 3 bytes, okay, which will come later on. But right now, let's just focus on string. So string is a character. And the way we represent string is with that double inverted comma. Okay. But what if I would have represented the same thing with a single inverted comma? Do you think this means a different thing in Python? See,
Yes.
yes, but in what sense? I mean, why do you?
Actually, single quotation, it shows it's a character constant.
And double?
And double quotation, it says denoted as a string. And string is the collection of characters.
Okay, so in Python, basically, especially for a string, okay, you can either use a single inverted comma or double inverted comma. Okay, both represent the same string in the case of Python. But then why we need two different representation just to handle one similar structure? Let's say, why so much of confusion? Why should I go with this when it's very equivalent to a single inverted comma also, right? So why do you think in a Python language this was being discovered, which basically is a identical? We can go with double inverted comma, we can also go with a single inverted comma. Then why do we need two things? Why can't we use only, say, a double inverted comma? What do you think the logic could be?
It depends on the Python version.
No, nothing to do with Python version here.
The text actually contains speech marks and stuff like that. So,
Okay, I will help you with some hint. Let's say I have to write some content within this. Okay, so I said A plus B, and then the whole thing, whole content has to be multiplied by 25. Okay, so here is where there could be necessity that I make use of a double inverted comma so that this whole thing separates out. Okay, right? Because what happens is, let's assume that you made use of double inverted comma throughout. Okay, so you have double inverted comma, and then you are also making a double inverted comma. Now what happens is, the first one, they get grouped each other, which leads to an error. Okay, so we need to follow certain things right now, so we should take it as this way, not the other way. That's why what we do is, to differentiate the things, we make use of a double inverted comma here, and then on the external part we make use of a single inverted comma. So the content within this is one element, and then the whole thing is another element. Okay, so for that purpose we represent this. Otherwise, the meaning of single inverted comma and double inverted comma in Python is just to represent strings. Guys, I just placed few guys on mute. We had some background disturbance. Okay, so that's about print, which is used to display the content or to fetch the output. The open bracket is called as parenthesis, where you can define a user content which you want to print, or you can put some filters depending upon what syntax you use. And those double inverted comma, what you see on the screen, is the string notation. Okay, and let's go to the next important topic of Python. So what do you understand by this? Variable.
It's like a container that can hold anything pretty much.
Alias in the
Yeah, we can store the value inside the variable.
Okay, container, store, and you also said some value. So what value are you referring to?
That could be string or that could be numeric.
Okay,
Anything.
so we
Please
call
use
them as Python's data structure.
data types. Yeah.
Okay, so whatever you just called out, the string, the integers or numbers, or list, or the boolean, or the tuples, they are all the data structures. Okay, so what is data structure then? What do you understand by data structures?
We want to store certain values which are in simple format, and sometimes we want to do some complex calculations. So at that time we need to store some complex values. So those complex values would be the part of data structure, which is set, list, tuples, dictionaries are the part of complex data structure.
Yeah, I
Oh,
mean, how the data is structured, like the word which is data structure, it means how is your data being structured, right? It can be structured as a string, as a number, or you could have a multiple strings within a group of objects, which is becomes a list. Similarly, you could have dictionaries and things like that, right? Basically, data can be divided into various forms of structure, and that's where there are different
okay.
things.
So when I say data, can I call it as piece of information?
Sure.
Okay, and the piece of information could be anything, right? It could be IP address, because we are network engineers. Let's give an example of networking. So IP address could be a data. It could be a username. It could be a password. It could be the output fetch from a show IP int brief. It could be the output from your show VLAN command. So these are all data, piece of information, and they are not always a text. They could be sometimes numbers. Let's say IP address. It's basically a numbers. And you see the format of this. There are like decimals. They're not like simple numbers like 5 or 10 or 20, or they are not kind of the negative numbers. Okay, so they are something like decimal. When you see those dots, so in a programming we consider it as a decimals. Okay, whereas the username, they could be the text format. Like most of the time you might have seen the usernames are like admin or the employee ID of an user. So basically they will be either completely text or a mix of a text with the numbers, right? So yeah, alphanumeric kind of thing where there are numbers with the text. Password could be again alphanumeric. Show IP int brief. Sometimes output could be plain text. Sometimes the output could be alphanumeric where let's say you have show IP int brief where 50% of the things could be text, the normal English font A to Z, and rest could be depending upon what output is fetched. It could be numbers or it could be another decimals, right? So basically these are the data which we deal when I'm writing a script, when I'm pushing a script towards my Cisco box. It's gonna contain username, password, IP, which is alphanumeric, numbers, text, whatever. And when I'm fetching back, I'm also expecting same kind of behavior. It could be alphanumeric or text or whatever, right? So these are some data which we need to talk about. And these data are segmented based on what it is, okay? So when I write the first data structure called as string, they are pure text. Okay, pure text in the sense A to Z and the uppercase A to Z. So they are pure text. But then when you write a string, there is a hard-coded notation to use them. We can make use of these double inverted comma or single inverted comma to represent string. So basically they are now a character. The moment you bring them inside these inverted comma, we call it as character. The reason is even the numbers can be now placed under this. Let's say if I place a number 5 here, now this is no more a number by its property. It's not a number anymore. It's gonna be represented as a string. So this is gonna be,
we cannot
yes,
do any calculation on it.
I cannot do any calculation over here because it will lose its number property. Now it's a character.
Yes.
Okay. Another example. Let's say, since you bought the concept of calculation. So guys, what is the output of this? Ten plus 5.
15.
15. Okay, good. Now this is pure numbers, right? But if I say, now what's the output?
105.
Yes, 105. Why? Because they are strings, or these are treated as a character. And what is this plus symbol? It's just joining these two things, the two character, 10 with 5. Yes, so this, yes, so we call this as a process concatenation. Okay, so you see how the properties got changed in the Python world. It happens with other language also, but let's focus only on Python. So when you have numbers 10 plus 5, it's 15. But then when you consider two different characters, it got the result of
Shiva.
Guys, be on mute, okay? All right, so that's a little story behind string, the numbers. Okay, string doesn't
So, Sagar,
mean
one
that.
quick question.
Yes.
Yeah, one quick question. So as you mentioned, one single quotation and double quotation, right? What is the difference between single quotation and double quotation?
Okay, so if you guys remember in a mathematics equation board mass, basically what is that board mass doing? You're giving some considerations, right? The bracket first, then the multiplication or division, kind of some privilege, right? So similar way, let's say I have x, y, z, and then I have two strings with me, a plus b. Okay, and my purpose here is to, let's say, multiply b with 25. Okay, and then I want to put them under an equation. So let's say I put some equation like this. So by default, what it does, it's gonna multiply with this and then it will add with this. But let's assume that I want a different meaning out of it. That is, I want first it to be added up, and there, if I put a single inverted comma once again, now what happens is my first inverted comma and this inverted comma will be trying to getting considered. Basically, I want to consider, let me use a different thing. I want to consider this single inverted comma with the extreme end one. But in Python, that doesn't happen. The moment you put the single inverted comma, the very next single inverted comma gets treated. Now this will give you an error. This makes it a different meaning to it. Okay, so that is what we do is, instead of single inverted comma, I make use of double inverted comma on the start and the end of the bracket, so that this gets its equation, and then with the help of that double inverted comma, we are giving it a privilege that this is the first thing that to be done here. So you're basically differentiating here, otherwise you will fall under the error here. So you got that?
So Sagar, the one which you have over here, a plus b, with the string that they have, like a has a string and b has a string, right? And you are combining both of them within a bigger string, right? Could be single apostrophe or double apostrophe. What's the result gonna be? Like, for example, if I need to solve this, will you say that this a string plus b string will be equal to what, ab overall?
AB, yes.
And then I will have that AB, which is now another string.
Yes.
In the larger one, you are basically multiplying by 25. So it will be AB times 25. So AB, and continuously, till 25 more times, right?
Yes, yes. Okay.
Got it.
But forget about the equation here. The question asked was the double inverted comma and single inverted comma. Okay. So here you're differentiating the things. So when you make use of single inverted comma, make sure that they are to be used for some purpose, some reasons. Okay. So either you can use double inverted comma or they can be used single inverted comma. It's your choice. But then don't, then you should remember that the first inverted comma will definitely try to see where's the end of it. And if it see at the first line of your string, it's gonna think that this is start and this is the end. Okay, so just to make that difference, we have two options so that they don't have the issues on identifying which is start and which is end.
So are you saying that if in case I have a plus b with their strings, and if in case instead of having a single apostrophe, I have double apostrophe, will the result be different?
It's not about equation. Forget about equation. That's just an example what I gave you. Okay, see, if you use double inverted comma or single inverted comma, the result is same. But then where do you use this single inverted comma and double inverted comma? That is going to make a difference here. Okay, let me give you one more example. Let's say you have double inverted comma and then you are having something in this way.
Right.
Okay, now what happens is this gets treated as start and stop, start or end. Okay, this is getting start and end, and this is getting the meaning of start and end, which is actually gonna break our script. Okay, that is why I said make use of single inverted comma and the extreme start and end, and this you keep it as this way. Now what's the meaning? This is start. Where's the end? This is not a single inverted. This is not a single inverted. Neither these two. So your single inverted is this. So this is start. This is end. And rest. This is start. This is end. This is start. And this is end. So that makes more meaningful, right? When you compare with that first one. So
Got
that
it.
is why.
So
Yeah. That.
So always start either with double quotes or single quotes, and then in the middle, if you have multiple, things that you need to do, be consistent overall in the middle. Then, right?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Got it.
So if you ever know, then these Python have their own style guides, okay, which is put up in Python Pep 8, which talks about the best practice and uh, the basic what's the best practices. So as per the Pep design, the Python talks the same thing. You make use of single inverted or double inverted. They are gonna be the same meaning, but then don't mix it. Okay, it can either have single or it can have double inverted comma, but then don't try to mix it and just break your program. Okay, so these are all the best practices that is been documented on the official Python website.
Makes sense.
Sagar, is it safe to say that Python does not see spaces as a space? That's why we're doing this?
I have not discussed about space. So this is a space here. This is a single space. This is a space here. Okay. Yeah. So if I write it on a pie chart, let's say, let me take this out. Okay. So let's say if I say x equals to a plus b. Okay. So you see this is a space. This is also a space. Between an operator and a string, we need to maintain a space. Okay. And then what I was trying to say is the single inverted comma. So let's say I have a single inverted comma at the start and the end of this. Okay. So that this represents the start and this represents the end. If what happens is, if you don't maintain this consistency, it will break. There's chances that, let's say if this is considered as a single inverted comma. Now this gets treated as start and end, and this will treat as start and end here. You're getting my point, right? It's about how you put the whole thing. So it's better keep a different representation for start and end, and throughout in the center maintain a consistency. Like if you're making use of single inverted comma for start and end, then throughout you make use of a double inverted comma. Okay, and then yes, you have to maintain all those space and all those things which is required here. Okay, so guys, variable is basically a container or a container which is used to store this data, the data which we just discussed, like string, numbers, or list. We have list and other things we are yet to come up, but then this is very important topic, okay, which says which is about to use as a container or store the data. Okay, so let's say let's assume that why do we need variable in a network automation scripting? Okay, so some examples, let's say IP address. I want to store an IP address. This is my IP address, guys. Okay, and what I did is I stored it over on a variable called as IP. Variable can have any name. Okay, it could be alphanumeric, but there are some rules here which I'll tell you what are the rules for naming this. But then what this represent is it represent a container, a empty bowl, and then you stored or you just inserted the whole data 192 168 1.1 inside that container, and this container is transmitted between your source and destination. So source is where you write your Python scripting, and destination is where you have your Cisco boxes. Okay, so if you remember the labs, so we discussed yesterday in the class that we need two things. One is the Cisco router or switch or whatever, and then we need PyCharm. Okay, and in between this, there will be a SSH22 enabled. So when you push SSH, let's say -l admin at the rate of 1.1.1, basically, which is the IP address of this. So this is transmitted in a write mode. And very next thing, what the box does is it's gonna send you to input some details for username, which is happening. Guys. If you are not speaking, put yourself in mute. Okay. So the next thing what happens here is it's gonna ask you for username, which is in a read text or read only text. Now you will input the data. Let's say the username is admin, which happens in a write mode. Okay. Now once the box receives it, it's gonna send another prompt to input the password, which is again over on a read channel. And then you input the data. Let's say the password was Cisco, which is a write channel mode. So these are the 5 steps. Okay. Step number 1, which was SSH initiation. Step number 2 was your Cisco box prompting you to input username. Then you type the data. Then the 4th step was the Cisco box prompting you to type password, and then you give the exact data, and then the SSH console is opened. And then there is where you will start sending all your commands like show version, which you will fetch it back. So show version would go in a write mode. Whatever you fetch it back, it goes in a read mode. Okay. So all these things, what is happening, they need something to store and get transmitted. Agree? So here is where the concept of variable comes. So these variables are added, or these variables are the actual fundamentals which carry these details over on the write channel or a read channel. So in shortcut, whatever we just discussed, that is username, IP address, password, show version, fetching of the detail, basically they are put in this container. This container is an empty container, and then it is transmitted from source to destination, back from destination to source, and then finally you also print this variable. And the moment you print this variable, which is an empty container, the very last data, let's say, was the collection of show version. The moment you print it, the entire content of that variable gets gets displayed on your screen. Okay. So for an example, let's say this is one script. Okay. I have used many variables. So one variable is to put the device host name. There is another variable to keep the port number, username. So these are called as variable, where I'm storing the data, a piece of information. And this variable is later on utilized to take a SSH connection. So if you see here, I'm making use of something called as manager.connect to initialize the connection. And then you see that for every connections you make, there is a equivalent variable. And later on, we print that variable. And what is gonna consisting of this variable? What would be the content of this variable? Basically, it's something which is gonna contain the content of show version, or it could be show output. Let's say, for an example, let's say I have one variable xyz, and then I call it as automation. Okay. Now, basically, what is happening is this piece of information is stored inside variable. And when you print that variable, what do you expect? So if I run this, it's basically going to give me the content of that variable. The same thing happens in the automation script. When you put a show version and you send it to the Cisco box, whatever output was generated for that show version command, the output is now put inside this variable. Okay, now that variable, let's say, got some data within it, and it is having some 4 byte of data. And when you print this variable, the whole content is getting fetched, something like this. I just put one small data within that, within a variable, and I just print it to see what that variable is gonna show me the data. So the data is automation. If you keep on adding, so let's say you added more data to that, and if you just print it up, so you see the data is now in front of you, right? So same thing happens when you push it in this way. Let's say you have XYZ and you sent show IP int brief towards the Cisco box. The command got executed, and whatever was fetched on the Cisco box will store on that variable, and then you print it, and then the content is visible in front of you guys. Okay, so variable in short is a empty container, and this is something which we will use kind of every script. The variable, strings, numbers. Okay, these are very frequently utilized concepts in Python. Okay, so
Sagar, it sounds like before we even look at the script, it's a good idea to look at the variable, identify them, and kind of know them, to be able to read the script better. Is that true?
Could you reiterate your question? I didn't get it.
Meaning that, because like I am new, I'm trying to see what is the best way to identify things within a script. And when I look at the script, is it a good idea to identify variables first and then look at the script? Because or else I wouldn't know what the host name is. And, I kind of, because to my new eye, I have to see what I'm working with, right? So if I look at the host and port, now I know that's the host name, that's the port, and now I go down the script and be able to identify what's printing.
Okay. So see, basically what in the script we have done is we have put the value of each thing here. Let's say host name, port number, and then we are reusing those variable in a later on stages. Okay, so I will talk about the script later on, but we will create a simple script on day one. Okay, so we will not discuss on this script as of now. This will come later on, but we'll talk about a easy to grab kind of thing. Okay, so let's say I want to write a new script, a very basic script. So this is my PyCharm module, or this is my PyCharm tool. So over here where it says file, I click over on that. I click on new. Then I have some options here. Okay, I can click on file option, the first option. And then to create a file, we basically write its name. So let's say this is my first script. Okay, so script 1 May batch with .py. So py resembles the Python script, and this is how I get a empty blank sheet with me. And over here, whatever we discussed so far, the variables, the strings, okay, the print commands is something which we will be using it up here. So first thing, you should know that we need a module or a library. Okay, so this library is gonna help us to get us a transport channel. Okay, a transport channel which can form a intermediate medium between the PyCharm, the script, and the Cisco box. So let's say if I want to talk, if I want to initiate some kind of transport mechanism, so that whatever I write here, whatever I develop my script here, can be pushed over on this transport channel, and then I can also fetch back some details from the Cisco box. So what do you think, which transport channel do we have? So we can initiate some sort of transport mechanism. So basically a Cisco box, on which protocol does it respond to?
SSH.
Yes, so SSH being one of the very popular one. What are the other
Telnet.
options?
Telnet.
HTTPS.
Telnet. Okay, HTTPS or HTTP. What else?
You could have REST as well.
API calls.
Yeah, that I can write here, REST API, or API, I can just write it over here. What else?
Netconf.
Netconf, okay, again it's SSH 22 or make use of SSH, so part of that. What else?
Console port.
No, we cannot use console port for automation. Console port is something which you have to fix it to your laptop. But there are few more things which we have not written here.
Ox.
What about SNMP? So SNMP also forms a protocol which is used for communication between the monitoring tool and the boxes, right? It does the polling, and it has that MIB protocol. Do you know about the Yang models? So
No.
this is one more data modeling.
Sagar, question here. So can we automate via SNMP?
Yes, we can automate. If you want to discover or poll, you can automate.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. What else, guys? What are the other?
Postman.
Postman is a tool. It's not a transport channel. What about FTP, TFTP?
Already we have written.
What about this TFTP, FTP and all?
Yes, this is the application.
This is not application. These are protocol, layer 7 protocols. Applications are your FileZilla and WinSCP. Those are applications. These are protocols. Okay. So basically, this is a file transfer protocol. So these are all the options which are with you now. Okay. Now it depends what is the requirement for you. Do you want to do a SSH and just pull a output of show IP int brief, or you want to do a FTP and push a script from your Python script to the boxes, right? It's your call now. You can have n reasons to talk to a Cisco box. It always don't have to be SSH. Agree? If it is a SNMP protocol, then definitely the task is to poll something and discover and bring it on your network. So different scope, different protocols you use. And here is where we need a module. Okay, we need a module which can provide us these features. Now, when it comes to automation, there are a lot of modules. Let's say NetMiko is one of them. You might have heard about Paramiko. You might have heard about NEPAM or PyNTC or Nornir or a request module or a NC client. So what are these? These are libraries. These are libraries which are being developed by some full stack engineers and being put up on the Python community, and it's available for free. I can go and I can utilize any one from it. So why so many modules? So basically this supports SSH. Okay, it also
Sir, I want
supports.
to question.
Yes,
So
go
what is
ahead.
the difference between library and module?
They are same. Okay, so library and module is same.
Okay.
So depending upon the protocol, you have different modules or live. That's why I say modules or libraries. Okay, I don't say it modules and library. Basically, these two terms are the same thing. And if you want Paramiko, you can also get SSH telnet features. If you go with NEPAM, you have SSH, you have the APIs. Okay, that is this part. When you go to the request module, you have the REST-conf protocol as a main transport layer. If you go with NC client, you have netconf, right? So you have so many ways to talk between the PyCharm and the Cisco module, and that is why you have so many modules as well which you can utilize, and they are free to use. And each module don't come pre-installed with your PyCharm. You have to install it manually. Okay, so if you want to install Netmiko, let's say, you will go to PyCharm settings and install it. So let me show you how I install Netmiko.
Other
So
libraries are not dependent on device specific, right? That's
they are
considered
not
like if
they are not device specific thing. They are just to give you all the ways to communicate. So when I say Netmiko, my main intention is to do a SSH. Okay. So when I come to PyCharm, when I click on file, when I go to settings, so here is where I have to do my step number 1, that is to download Netmiko. Okay, so as it say, it's a multi-vendor supporting library to have the SSH connections to the network boxes. And this is a author, this is his website, this is where you can find the source code of this particular module, okay, or library. And how do we install this? There's a option here called as install package. Okay, you did a search, you selected Netmiko, you click on install package. That's all. The package is now with you, and you should see it over here on this list. So these are some modules or library which are installed on my PyCharm. Okay, so now it for you guys, this will be the new module which you have to install it. And what Netmiko does is it will also install all the dependency files. So dependency could be Netmiko in the backend make use of some other important modules or some other important requirements. Okay, could be a text FXM for data parsing, or it could be Paramiko for the SSH, or it could be some APIs for some API calls. So you don't need to worry. Netmiko as a package will automatically download all the other things. Okay, so you will be surprised that when you before installation you might have 1 or 2 plugins here, but the moment you install Netmiko, you all of a sudden got 10 different things. So don't be surprised. It is that Netmiko which automatically downloaded all its dependency files, so that you don't have to go and download each one of them individually. Okay, so it will do its work. So once you have the library with you over on PyCharm, it's time to call that library. Okay, so how do we call that library is we make use of import, and then we call that particular library name. Okay, so this is basically how we call the library name. The reason why we do is, as you can see here, I have multiple libraries here. Okay, so how would my script know that I'm using Netmiko or Nornir? So basically I have to call them. So if I am calling Netmiko, then this is the way to call it. If I call, let's say PyNTC, then I will make use of import PyNTC. Or if I have to call Paramiko, then I'll go and call Paramiko, and then I'll write a script based on that module. Okay. So first thing is to call a module. So any doubt, guys, so far?
Can we call more than one module?
Sorry?
Can we import more than one module?
Yes, you can. Yes, we can also call other modules, like say for example, import paramiko, import get pass, or import netmiko. I can call multiple modules here.
One more, Saga, one more time. Can you show us file settings where exactly we need to go to
Sorry,
install this
your
package?
voice is very low. Wait, your voice is very low. Sorry.
File settings where we need to go to install this package.
Go to file settings, and there is a plus symbol here. So under this option, Python interpreter.
Some question here. Sometimes we have seen that before import in the script there is from certain name, then import netmiko or nc client.
Okay, so actually there is a interesting story there. We do not have a lot of time, but in short, what I will tell is, let's say when you write import netmiko, okay, and when you write from netmiko import, let's say connect handler. Okay, this is your confusion, right? So when you say import netmiko, the entire netmiko as a package and whatever it's having the internal functions within it, functions are nothing but the different roles. Let's say this function is created to take care of SSH. This function is created to take care of SNMP. This function you have to take care of, let's say, selecting the right device template. So there could be a lot of functions. And when you make use of import netmiko, it's basically open for all the functions. You can use any function later on inside your script. So if this is my script, I can use the function name. I can make use of function.
Got it. That means while using import netmiko, that means within netmiko, if we do have 20 methods or functions, that means this single line imports all those 20 methods or functions, and we can use later on in the script.
Yes, right. That's absolutely
but
right.
When we are going to use from netmiko import connect handler, that means it's only going to import the connect handler.
Yes, that means you only have called one single function.
Okay, so Sagar, what confusion do I have, because I generally do Java programming earlier. So in Java as well, we have these import statements where we are going to import certain packages, which is package is a folder which contains multiple classes, and classes contains methods. Okay, so here when we are saying import connect handler, so this connect handler is a class or it's a package?
It's a function. We call as a function. So don't mix your Java language with Python. Okay. So in Python, we call it as function, straightforward. And function is like your role model. So this function, what I have written here called as connect handler, it is meant to select a template, right template, like let's say iOS template, and then do the SSH part.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. But then guys, you might be, I'm not sure if you have thought about from some networking point of view, but let's discuss this, might be next classes. Will there be any overhead by either calling only netmiko, that means open for all the different functions, or by using the straightforward connect handler, right? So see here, you're basically open for 20 different functions, but here you are limited only to one function. So do you think, will there be any overhead created on the servers where you're running this?
Yeah, there is some latency involved.
Okay, we will discuss this later on, okay, which I will take it up later on. So let's
just last question. Like you said, from netmiko import this connect handler. So but is there any portal from where we can check that in netmiko library what all functions are there?
I will show you.
Okay,
I have pulled up that. I wanted to show you in today's class itself. So these are different sub modules. Okay,
it's a website.
It's a netmiko website. Yes. Okay, if you search Netmiko source code, you will get okay, I'll give you this over here on the chat.
So not only Netmiko, we can search for other libraries as well.
Yes, you can search for everything.
Okay, that's
These
interesting. Which library is this? KT?
This is Netmiko. Search with Netmiko.
Does Cisco offer any proprietary modules?
Yeah, they have come up with a new thing called as PyAts, which is also part of the DevNet. Okay. Rest all the Netmiko and Nornir, all those what we just use today, they basically the third parties. Okay. All right. So this is the function, and this is what the function is set to do. Guys, again, this is something which will take some time to understand what is function, what is the source code. So don't.
No, but that's interesting. Which you have shown that we can check it somewhere.
Yes,
that's
okay.
Thank
so
you.
Those guys have at least knowledge on different programming languages. You guys will at least have some idea like what it is. Okay, but some people who do not have any idea, then you will not know what is function, what are these asterisk symbols. So it will take time. Every one single class I will pick up some new things and we will try to decode the things. Okay, so it's not that one class we will finish everything. So let me write a simple straightforward script first. So let's say from Netmiko import connect handler, which is to call the library, which I'm gonna write here, calling the library or module. Okay, and then let's define all the parameters that is required to take a SSH connection. Okay, we call this process as Netmiko class. And here we make use of the dictionary pattern. So dictionary is again one of the Python's data structure. So if you go back to this slide, okay, so here is where the dictionary comes. So let me show you how does this dictionary look like and what is the benefit of doing this. So this basically, this is a data structure, which data structure has to be put in a variable at the end. So I can call this as devices 123 equals to, and this is how we write a dictionary with the curly brackets. Okay, and this act as a variable. So basically, what is variable? Whatever I'm gonna write, it's gonna be the content or data information which was present inside the variable device 123. So what are the different data that we need here? So we need something called as device type, because Netmiko supports multi-vendor, which we just saw here. So you see these are the different vendors that Netmiko supports. Okay, Arista, Aruba, Broadcom, Cisco. So we have to define that, yes, I'm gonna interact with a Cisco box. So that's something which I have to define. The next thing what script needs is the IP address. So what IP address are you gonna talk to? So where's your lab? You have to open your lab right now. Okay, so this lab sometimes get into the frozen mode, so I have to do some workaround by disabling, enabling that VMnet 8, and this then starts giving me the login page. Okay, so if you are using the remote lab, then you do not have to worry. But if you're using the local lab, then sometimes those VMnet 8 gives us things. Okay, and this is also down the server, so I have to bring the server up. So guys, any doubt so far? So anyone who is stuck at some point, not able to grab?
So Saga, one thing means from the Netmiko, we need to download also the connect handler, right? The library.
This is not library.
This is like a function that we need to import or download.
This is a part of the Netmiko. So when you initially installed Netmiko, right, all the functions got auto downloaded within that. The source code gets downloaded. I'll tell you what is happening. So if you go to GitHub and you look for Netmiko, Netmiko is a package, a zip package. Let me show you what it consists of. So this is a complete package for Netmiko. I can also download it. I can download it as zip file, which is kind of some 2 MB or 3 MB. If I just go to that folder, I open it up. These are the different files within Netmiko, which I don't see in the case of PyCharm, because PyCharm did something in the backend and it stored it somewhere. But if I go and download it from their official website, this is something which happens. And if you go inside Netmiko, these are the different vendors. And if you again go in depth of any vendors, let's say if I go into Cisco, here is where I can see some ready-made templates. So template for iOS, if you open it up, let's say with a notepad, you should see all the different functions. So functions, I don't have to import it. It's part of your code. Okay. This is what the different functions put up here. So when you download it, when you downloaded the package, every functions get pulled up. It will be present in that package. Okay.
Okay, so means I have installed the Netmiko, means installed the package for the Netmiko, but I'm not able to import the connect handler one from this library. So that's why I'm
so
asking.
this will be automatically be fetched. Okay, you don't have to download it separately. This is part of that code only, part of this package.
Okay.
Yeah, if it is included the package, right? So why we are why you are defining the Netmiko class?
See, there are hundreds of plugins that's getting downloaded here, right? So which one are you using?
Okay.
Right.
Where is the Netmiko? Yeah.
I told you, right? There are multiple modules available. So which one are you using to develop your script? It's not that we write all and everything will get considered. We have to use one or two or three, whichever we want to use it. They are meant for different aspects or different scope sometimes.
No. This is not my question. So can I go to the script, please? So I think I got that you are importing the library or module.
Are you talking about this one?
No. Sixth line. Sorry, fifth line. Netmiko class.
Fifth line is a comment, guys. This is only comment. This is just for my reference. I put with a hash symbol. So these are non-triggerable elements. I can delete them if it's causing you an confusion. They are just as a comment. You know, right? In programming, we put comments every year and then.
So I thought that Netmiko class will be related to the variable device or
No, that is not variable. That was just to understand that this is what is happening on that line. If you see something written after the hash symbol, that means this is a statement, a comment statement, so that someone who is reading through the script, he knows that, okay, this is for this, this is for this, and this is for this. Okay. So different programming language make use of its own comment part. If I'm not wrong, in CSS, color cascading, I think we make use of something something like this. I might be wrong, but I remember in CSS we use this. Might be in Java or C++ also, you might use some ways to comment some code, some line. So these are actually the non-triggerable elements. These don't get triggered. Okay. In Python, we make use of the hash symbol and then we put our comment. Okay. So if that is
Hey Sagar, if you would have commented like import complete Netmiko, then you don't have to mention like you have mentioned there that connect handler don't have to be imported separately if we imported complete package, right?
One second. Okay, so which line are you referring to?
If we would have used that import Netmiko itself, so we don't have to then again in a
yes, we don't
program,
have to.
don't have to. Yeah,
we don't have to. That is why I have put a question mark to you guys to tell me what is this, whether import Netmiko or from Netmiko import connect handler, what basically is it about and is it causing a overhead? Okay, so both are both are doable. Either you can go with only import netmiko or from netmiko import. So this is a topic which we will discuss in the upcoming classes. Okay, I'll tell you what happens if you go with this and what happens if you just go with import netmiko. So that is also doable. But then what you need to do is that function name, you have to write it every time here. So you have to write connect handler and then dot connect handler. Okay, so there are some things which you will understand when we proceed with the classes.
Okay, thanks.
Yes. Okay, so right now what I'm trying to do is, this is my library or module and I'm calling one of its function. Okay, connect handler, and this function, the source code is here. So if you want to just understand what does this connect handler consist of, then this is the code. It's basically used to select a template, the platforms, whether it's a iOS, Nexus, Juniper, whatever platform it is. If I don't mention it, then it's gonna give me all the possibility list to me, saying that these are all the options, these are all supportive netmiko options, so select one of it. So that is the main work of this. Once the template is selected, then what happens is it knows what to done. So let's say if I open up the Cisco folder, and within Cisco folder I am making use of Cisco iOS. Now it knows how to initialize the SSH connection. Okay, it is aware of what need to be done. So to get to this extent, to get to what vendor you are gonna support, is where the connect handler plays an important role. Okay, that is why we make use of connect handler, to first get into that right template. And once you get into that right template, then the backend code will initiate SSH, and it will support, it will give you the open SSH console, and then you will be able to send the commands. Okay, so commands are again put up here. So these are some commands which you can use it to fetch, to configure, to take backup, to read the prompt. So these are some commands that we need to use. Any doubt? Okay, so just for lab purpose, I just boot one box right now, or one Cisco iOS router. So guys, if there is any doubt, let me know.
So like YAML, right? So do we need to follow any indentation in the Python?
Yes, we have to. Okay, we have to follow. All right, so this is one IP address which I have it. Which
I saw that ticket. I didn't grab it. It could have been. It could have been.
Hello. Okay. So guys who are not talking, I'll just mute. Okay, so that you can unmute yourself later on. Okay, I have IP address with me. Let's define username.
One question here, Sagar.
Mm-hmm.
So you are creating a dictionary here, correct?
Yes, yes.
So is it necessary to create only dictionary, or we can use other data structure types like set or list? Because in dictionary we have key value pair.
You can use set also, but then you have to remove this curly bracket and make use of it.
Syntax is different.
Yes, you can use. It's only that how you are gonna provide this data to the next
device. Okay, and this device type for the line number 3, is it required in this netmiko process?
Very much required. This is something which you see only in netmiko. I mean netmiko and some more module, but this is the very basic thing which you need. Otherwise, your script will not run.
Okay.
So in the line number 4, right, you just given the double quotation for the IP address, right?
Yes.
And the line number 7, you have not provided port number 22 with the double quotation.
Yes, because this I want to treat as a character, and this I want to treat as a numbers. That's why.
Actually, okay. Even though assigning the IP address to the devices, right? How it will be considered as a characters? It will not.
Because this is as it is gonna get printed, right? So if I say this variable whatever IP is 192.168.29.131, basically you see it consists of these decimals, right? So in numbers, either you have integers or floatings or the imaginary numbers.
Complex, yeah.
Yeah. So you have to make use of this as a character now. This is the whole thing which has to be printed as a single character. That is why. Whereas this is a number, the which I can make use of without the quotations or the inverted commas. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now question once again. Just try to iterate me what have I done so far. Guys, what have I done so far? I mean, what are these three blocks? Block
We
number
have
one, block number two,
first
block
block.
number three.
First block is going to use the netmiko module, and from that module we are going to use connect handler function. And then second block, line number 2 to line number 8, is going to talk with the device with its what is the type of that device, the destination of the device, that is IP address, username, password, and the port which we are going to talk. And the third block is going to make the connection with that device by providing device 123 in connect handler function.
Okay, fine, good. Yes, so that is the one. So these all three are connected to each other. Okay, but again, one question: 2 asterisk symbol. What does that mean? 2 asterisk symbol.
Elements, right?
Even I have seen this connect handler so many times in netmiko module. It gives us a single asterisk and double asterisk.
Yes, it gives a double asterisk symbol, right?
Yeah, but what is the purpose of this?
Yes, that is what is the question. What do you think?
So when it asks for the device type, it will enter Cisco, and IP, it will enter the IP, and username, it will enter admin. So it's providing the values what is asking directly there.
Okay. So see,
extracting
basically
all the information.
Yes, that's right. It's abstracting or extracting the information. But then let's say if I don't go with the double asterisk symbol, then how would I extracted these things?
You'd have to specify all of them.
Manually, we have to add the elements.
Yes, we have to manually add these details. Something like this. Is it very tedious job to do this? Okay, so you have to say that you're gonna extract the detail from device 123, the value of device type. Okay, so this would be one of the method to extract the things. But then I'll tell you the second challenge with this type of manual work. Let's say you went with some more additions. Let's say you wanted to add some delay factors later on, and then you have missed out to call this over here. Okay, now those things leads to an error. It says that it was expecting 5 data, but then you have only made provision to take 4. So there is a positional argument mismatch. So there is the reason to avoid all these complications. We put 2 asterisk symbol, and then we define what to be extracted from, because this can be created 3 more times. Okay, it don't have always to be one single Cisco iOS on your script. Might be this was for the Nexus box, NX OS 123, and then you have NX OS, and you could also have some F5 load balancers. Let's assume that way. Let's say this is a F5 load balancer. So which one are you trying to handle? Which one are you trying to take the console? So depending on that, you have to define the netmiko class over here, and basically this gets pulled up or extracted. And what this 2 asterisk symbol does is, whatever data being sent or whatever data is to be extracted, it's ready to handle later. It could be 4 different data, or it could be 2 different data, or it could be 10 different. You can keep on adding later on, but then this makes it more smoother for your script. It's
So
just going to handle the entire thing. Sorry?
excuse, it refers to dictionary, you mean? Asterisk means this is a dictionary, right? What's saying?
This is called as arguments.
No, the curly, in between the curly bracket is a dictionary.
Yes, this is dictionary.
Okay, so asterisk means we refer to the dictionary, whatever, how many dictionary we have.
How many, not how many dictionary, how many elements in that dictionary. This whole thing is a dictionary, and this each thing is a key value pair. Okay, key value, key value, key value, and key value. And this, let's say these are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 elements, and you might have to write 6 different elements within this if you don't go with the double asterisk method.
So it refers to the keys all in the dictionary, all the keys in the dictionary to match it.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
So, Sagar, quick question. In these arguments, you have 2 stars over there with devices 1, 2, 3, right? There could be times that I have, let's just say, 10 entries within that devices 1, 2, 3, but I only, for that particular connect handler, I only want to give like 8 of them, right? And then the 2 of them I'm not interested to give because it's a customized thing where that particular device doesn't work with the rest 2 of those things. So is there a possibility that we can eliminate or substitute only like 8 elements and then not take those 2 elements? Or because if I have those 2 elements that
you can put a quick comment section there, right, to eliminate something which is not required.
Okay. So so if I put a hash over there, but then in other cases where I need all the 10 elements, then it won't work. So is it a good practice then to create 2 different devices?
Yes, you have to create like 2. Yes, you have to create a different netmiko class for that.
Okay. Got it.
Can we run a list?
So this is more
on
like
the
a
arguments?
blueprint.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So what I was saying is this is more like a blueprint template where I can rinse and repeat again and again with that devices 1, 2, 3. If in case any time that blueprint changes where I have something else of a requirement for devices 1, 2, 3, I'll have to create another one.
Yes, that's right. Okay. So this forms a blueprint for netmiko. When you move to another module, the blueprint will change. And the same blueprint can be repeated for any other vendors as well. So from iOS, if you go to a Nexus box, it's just that 10% of minor change which you need to carry out, and the script is good with handling a Nexus box as well. Okay.
One question here, Sagar. Like earlier, you created 2 or 3 dictionaries within the same program. One is for this iOS XE, another one is for Nexus, another one is for F5 load balancer. So in that case, if I want to take SSH connection and using this connect handler by using this double asterisk and then the dictionary name. So if I want to use within the same program, I want to connect with multiple devices. So do we need to use the same line twice, thrice with double asterisk?
No. So let's say when you say more devices, that means 100 of iOS devices.
Correct.
Yeah, so that's a different approach. We'll talk sometime later where you will have to bring the for loop concepts. Okay, so we'll discuss that somewhere in the later on classes. Okay. So you don't have to write this multiple times. One time with integrating a for loop.
No, but devices are different. I mean, one is iOS device, iOS XE device. Another one is Nexus device.
Then you have to write this multiple
dictionary.
times.
Correct. So that's what I'm saying. If we do have multiple type of devices in a company, and I am going to create a single script, so at that time, if we do have 3 or 4 dictionaries which is having different name, one is iOS XE, another one is NXOS, another one is load balancer. So my question is, like, the line number 10 is going to connect right now with device 123, which is having these credentials. Correct? But within the script, I want to connect with another device as well. So can we use this connect handler multiple time in the same?
Yes. You just have to reproduce, and you just have to integrate this to whatever the next device was. Let's say Nexus was. Yeah.
That's the question. Thank you.
Yeah. You have to reuse this thing.
Question, Sagar. So in the device type value, right? The Cisco underscore iOS, is that predefined? You have to use like certain syntax in that?
Yes, these are predefined. All the keys
even the
that
Cisco
we
iOS
have here,
value?
this is also predefined, but other things are the generic variables.
Yes, that's what we pass. And
this is predefined. So let's say if I do not know the exact name of this, I can go with something like this and run the script, and I get a huge list of all supportive vendors.
Okay, makes sense. Thanks.
I can take one from here and I can replace it, and then I can rerun the script.
Yeah. And the same thing happen if you don't know the device type, like then this key, not the value. Like, yeah, you can just we don't know about this device type.
You get this from the source code itself. So if you go to the source code, you will get the complete structures. So let me show you here itself. If you let's say connect handler, and you just hover on this, so these are different templates, right? So if you go to those templates, there is where you will get all the supportive keys here, available. So there could be kind of 30 to 40 different keys that's available, which you can utilize.
Okay.
How to make sure that this connect handler function or in NetMiko modules specifically the keys that it have it's Cisco iOS Nexus whatever. If I need to search for a specific key value.
See, that is what I said. If you want to see the different available keys, then you have to go to the source code of the NetMiko, and then you will get all the predefined ones. So if you go to Cisco, if you go to iOS, okay, so you should able to see all the details. See something
like XR, for example, Cisco XR. Could I find?
See, these are the different keys: IP, host, username, password, secret. These are the different keys. Kind of 25 to 30 different options.
So if I want to connect to multiple IPs, then I have to write multiple times.
No. That different approach. Okay, some for loops, which we'll talk later. For loops concept.
One more question, Sagar. So here just mentioning the IP address. We are hard coding the IP address and username and password, right? So as per standards, is not recommended one, right? So how we can hide the username, password, and IP address?
We will talk about that. Okay, to take the username and password out of your script. We will talk about that. But
yeah, even though IP address comes well, right? So
yes, you can keep these IPs in an external notepad somewhere in TFT and TFTP, and then you can fetch from that as well. So we will talk about that. Okay. So first thing first is the basics structure. So are you okay with so far? I just wanted you guys to.
Line number 11 is needed or not required?
What is 11? I don't know. I think by someone was telling, I just typed it. Okay. So these are some line number 1 to line number 9. So are you guys good with what is happening till here?
Sagar, I have one question. devices 123 is a dictionary. Can we, like in C programming, we are going to use a array. So that type of thing can we use in dictionary also? Because if I want to take the multiple IP addresses from the user, so can I use array concept in that dictionary?
We will use multiple IP addressing, but not within here, but instead we will make use of some other approaches. Okay, so we will keep some list here where we will place all our multiple IPs, and then we will use some for loop concepts, and then that XYZ we can place it here. So that's a different script with different approach, which we will talk it when it comes to multiple device interactions. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
So guys, if I run the script, what do you think? Will I fetch any output for any show command, or what happens here?
No, it's not. We have to add the print command. Right?
Okay, no, print command is fine, but
you need to send a command to it.
Yes. So what is this? What is this meant to do?
That's just a connection.
Just a connection to the device.
Yes. So basically, what this script does is just gonna do SSH, and if the SSH is open, I get a successful code of 0. If something was not good, let's say if I purposefully put some error in my script and rerun, then I should get some error message so that I am not able to connect due to either username password wrong, or some SSH key file is missing, or some problem with the connection. Basically the SSH connection or firewall blocking, anything, because I have put some errors inside my script. So if I just fix that error, basically what the script is going to do, it's gonna do that SSH 192.168.29.131. It's gonna consider username admin and password Cisco, and we should get the console open. Now here is where we push our next important command. Okay, so the commands like whatever you want to fetch out of the script. So I'll say this is a variable SSH123, which will take the command show IP int brief, and then I want to print whatever is fetched. Okay, so let's say I put that content inside a new variable called output123, and then I print the value of output123. Okay, and if I rerun the script, I should have my data with me. So whatever is the show IP int brief of a box, so I have that details with me. Okay, so this is very simple basic script just to interact to SSH on a box and to fetch the command show IP int brief, and then we have this output. Okay,
so I don't have to use commas in the print command here, double comma or single comma.
The moment you add that, then the meaning of that changes. Now this becomes a character by itself, but what I want to print is the content inside that container. So these are two different points, right? See, I'll show you what is happening right now. If you just do this way, you will get that output as a as it is getting printed out. But right now I don't want to get that container. I want to see what's the content inside that container, the data within that container, right? So in that case, I have to remove those double inverted or single inverted comma, and I want to see the content of output 1, 2, 3.
Nice, thank you.
Sagar, can I ask a question? I get what you've done there. The only thing I've noticed is that you don't have the show IP interface brief command on that actual list. So if you've got like 20 commands that you're running and you want to quickly do a find, I normally just do a find replace. Would you just do a print statement above that? And then
yeah, so basically that's a limitation of Netmiko. What Netmiko does is by default Netmiko will not print whatever is the command. Okay,
yeah,
but then you can put some print statement and do your own tweakings. Let's say show IP int brief, some sort of this, which will give you the complete thing. Okay, but that's a limitation from NetMiko. There are some modules which also print along with that show command syntax, so you know what's that output for. Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
So guys, one question again. No one asked me about this.
Send command.
Yes, the send command is the function, right? So we'll grab the information from
it is not function, it is syntax now.
Okay.
Okay, but then do you think it's coded by me, or it's predefined, or what are its
that's predefined in connect handler?
Yeah, it looks like predefined.
So let's say it's a predefined syntax of NetMiko. Okay, what else does this do? Its limitation,
it only works with privilege mode command of the box.
Okay, so let's say privilege or read only commands. So if I want to, let's say if I want to do a configurations, if I want
think
to,
that there is another definition, which is send config command, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, so in that case you will go with send config commands.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, so that's what this command does. This is a arrow or privilege mode which can only run the show privilege commands. Okay. And again, one interesting question which I will put up here for you guys. Think about it. I also asked this during the demo. So what privilege is this guy?
It's 15.
15. And we have not put the concept of enable, because we know that a privilege 15 can bypass the enable secret, and it can give me output of any commands. Okay, so let's assume that there are some privileges. Okay, this is last topic for the day, and then we will wind up. You guys think about the valid answer for this, and we can discuss next time. Okay, so let's say username.
Sagar, one question. Instead of defining this username and password here, can we have like something like input?
Yes, we can have it. We can have input, or we can have get pass module also. Okay, we can have we will talk about the eliminating part of these things, and how user can type it. So we have all the different methods of handling these parts. Okay, but just one simple question today. Think about this. So let's say this is a privilege 15. We are good so far. And when I have a user with privilege 1, so let me replace that. I'll replace this guy called admin to Bob123. And if I run this, okay, so basically this command, this particular command is something which would run on all the privilege. So let me try with some command which only work privilege based. Okay, so what is this? Okay, let's say show run command. So for privilege 15, this will work. For privilege 1, this will not work, because right now we are stuck somewhere. We are stuck on that enable mode. So how do we get out of that enable mode is by giving ssh123.enable and then adding the secret, enable secret. So let's say the secret is Cisco 123, and then I will also create it inside my box. Okay, so I'll say enable secret Cisco 123, and if I rerun, now this works because I have put the enable mode and all those things. Okay, so any doubt so far to understand what I did with privilege 15 and privilege 1?
That's fine.
That's fine, right? Okay. Now the interesting thing is, let's create one more user called as Tom123, but the privilege of 5. And if I replace Bob with Tom, rest as it is, I have all the required thing. And if I run this thing, I don't have an output.
You've got to specify that though. That's an iOS thing, isn't it?
Sorry?
You've got to specify that. So you've got to say what Tom123 is allowed to do, because by default, he's not allowed to do anything.
No, nothing like that. He can still do other commands. He can do other commands. It's just that the privilege 1, privilege 2 to 14, and privilege 15. On a Cisco, I'm talking specially from Cisco. I'm not sure how it would work on Juniper or some other boxes, but on Cisco, these 3 are treated in a different way. Treated in the sense, the moment you come out of that enable, you will be treated in a different way. Okay, and there is where there is a limitation of this command comes. So this error or this whatever you just saw is because of some limitation of the send command. Okay, so that limitation is related to how these 3 things were getting considered. So you guys think and let me know what should be the fix and why it happened. If you give me, that's more than fine. We will make a way to get a way to get this Tom getting us the output of showrun. So we will do that part, but you let me know why it's giving an limitation for send command. What is happening when a user 5 or user 2 is trying to run showrun? So why this basically enable was a method to put you from the enable mode to the privilege mode, but that's not happening at this point. Okay, so think about it. If you have your remote lab or local lab ready, work on this, and then you can also do a quick SSH from your box to just see what's happening in this case. Okay, so this is having some negotiation problem. Okay, anyway, the reason why it is having negotiation is because these boxes are kind of outdated boxes. Okay, so I cannot straight away do SSH from base machine. I have to put those cipher code on the back end of my operating system, and then it works. Otherwise, open up these boxes. These switches are the latest one. So you can do a quick SSH from your base machine and then see how privilege 1, 2 to 14 and 15 treats that enable in a different way. Okay. So you got the logic, right? What I'm trying to say. Or any problem to understand what I'm trying to. Okay. All right, guys. So we have last 2 to 3 minutes. So you let me know if you got any doubts, and then we can wind it up.
One thing again, like you have given on the chat box, you have given the link to get the information about NetMiko library. Okay, so same like NetMiko, I want to validate other definitions and functions. So yeah, this one. So do we have it? Do we have any website for this one?
The same website, the same link which I gave you earlier, it has all the other detail. If you go to send command, you can also check the source code of send command.
No, this is only for NetMiko module. But there are other modules.
No, for other modules, it depends on the authors. Okay. So if a author has done a work on documentation, then we can read it. So NetMiko is one of such where you can see the documentation, but other modules you will not able to.
Because this is the best way to validate or check every function definition over here.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So guys, any doubt on whatever we covered so far?
Just out of curiosity, you know the variables, you've done them all in lowercase. Is there a certain sort of best practice for, should it always be lowercase, or could you do capitals and stuff like that?
Which line are you referring to?
You know, like for example, your device 123. You've done those as all lowercase, and then you know, should that always be lowercase, or can you do capitalize?
No, you can do caps as well, but remember these are case sensitives. Okay, so whatever you define, you can define it here.
Okay.
But there are some thumb rules. You cannot start a variable with a number. That's a illegal character. You cannot maintain some spaces in between. That will break the meaning of variable. You cannot have some symbols in your variable which will break the meaning of the thing. So you can have alphanumeric, or you can have these underscores, or you can have you cannot have hyphen as well. Okay, you can have underscore but not hyphen. You can have numbers at the end, or it's somewhere at the center, but not at the start. But then lowercase, uppercase, it's all your choice.
Okay.
Okay, so guys, if there is any doubt, reach out to me over on WhatsApp or over on Slack, right? So we also maintain a Slack. So it's very new for everyone. So I've not seen any people posting out. But then, yes, why we created Slack is to share the scripting. Okay, so if you see this, my script over here will fall with those indentation. It's very easier to share the scripts over on Slack rather than WhatsApp. WhatsApp, if I copy paste, there is possibility I lose this indentation. If you even copy and put it in a notepad, it will still maintain its indentation. But that's not happens in the WhatsApp scenario. That's why we have the platform Slack, where we can share the codes and we can maintain this. Okay, so if you guys wanna practice, you guys can take up this code and try using this. Okay, all right, then we will meet in the next class, and thank you for watching and attending this. Okay, so those who have not enrolled, you can contact us, and we will help you with the enrollment process. All right, so guys, that's all from my side. I hope you all had a good time attending these two classes, and let's meet up in the real class from tomorrow. Okay, so have a nice day, stay safe, and good luck everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sagar.
Thank you, Sagar.